Hello and welcome at Starladder Season 13. We are at Minsk-Arena, and here with me is Labial Wizard, the person whose high-velocity words are tearing apart the fabric of time and, space. Owen Davies, a.k.a. ODPixel. Hello.
Hello.
So, you have taken the Dota scene by the storm, and what's your story? How did you end up in this environment?
I don't know, it all started with kind of playing the game and just doing things locally. So I did a lot of stuff in the UK, smaller events, a lot of stuff from home, cast a lot of amateur Dota. And then I was fortunate enough to be scouted by Mr. Tugard, James Harding. He saw my stuff, and he gave me the opportunity to go to Sweden to do Dream League. And that was kind of when I got the first opportunity to cast top-tier Dota, which was also around the same time I did a 3-hour game, Cloud9. A lot of people on the internet saw me for that. So it was a very kind of fortunate series of events that kind of got my name out there. People started to go, hey, who's this guy? And started to follow my work and what I did.
Some people think that your speed of speech is a sort of a superpower. So how did you get it? Are you an alien from another planet? Have you been poured on with a toxic waste or some other story? What's your origin story like?
Just like, George Bush, I'm one of the lizard people. One of the people that's come in, put on the human skin. Nah, it's, I don't know, I always speak fast. I think it's just something that I've always done with my friends, being in the schools. I was always the one that wanted to get in everything that I wanted to say. In a conversation with my mates, and I'd have to say everything as fast as I could, just to make sure that I got everything in, just so someone didn't butt in. It's just something that I don't know. And I did stuff in the past with radio work and things. I've worked in radio in the UK. So I've done a lot of stuff with my voice. I've done a lot of music as well, like, the occasional singing, choir stuff. So the voice has always been an important part for me. It's been something that, and I did a degree in music technology, so audio as well. So when I started, one of the things that helped me out was that I had a pretty good setup, which was something that really helps when you're starting as a caster at an amateur level. Because obviously a lot of people, they just do it with their little cheap headsets, cheap mics. You can just spend, just like 50 quid. It's not a lot of money. You can get yourself a decent sounding mic, and it really kind of sets you apart from the other casters, and that certainly helps people kind of notice you.
But okay, you mentioned you have been working on the radio, but traditionally radio casters are supposed to talk like smoothly, slowly, and did you have any problems with your superpowers?
It is true, actually. Yeah, you say that. In radio, I did speak a bit slow. I wasn't going, not the same as when I cast. I think it's just kind of the excitement for games as well. I've always been a guy to play a lot of games. I was always the guy that, my friends would come to my house. I'd have the setups with the game cubes. We'd have the parties, and I'd always get really excited, and I'd always be shouting and kind of screaming. And I guess that kind of transitions into casting. And as there's, in a game like Dota 2, so much is literally happening. And I want to be able to talk about everything, so I just kind of get carried away, and I'll say everything that I see and just get the flow going. And it's just something that I've always done.
So I know lots of kids that want to be Dota players or in general esports players, but you as a caster, you seem to have much more interesting work. So how could you promote casting among young generation? So hey, people, go into casting.
I think it really depends on the kind of person you are. It's a very different thing. You look at some players can do both, the people that are players, but some players are very different. To become a player, you obviously got to play the game a lot, and that kind of requires a lot of alone time. To be a caster is much more arguably a social thing. I guess you could say the same as players, it's a team environment, but as a caster, especially in this scene, you're working with a lot of different people. I'm constantly co-casting, working with others. So in that sense, if you're looking for kind of a very social role inside of esports, I think casting is a very good thing. It's a great job to have in terms of traveling. You get to go to all these fantastic events. And unlike teams, you don't have to qualify. What you do in a sense is you have to be hired, but if you're casting and people like what you do, you don't have to essentially outperform others like the players do. Like you see different lands, not all the teams are going to make it, but if you're a popular caster, there's a high chance that you're going to end up being at more lands than certain teams. So in terms of getting out there, it's good fun. I can see why the appeal is to be the players. That's obviously the cooler thing. People will see who's got the most respect for. People are going to have more respect for the players, always. There's a lot of people who think casters not obviously as good as the game as players, but the players, they're kind of seen as gods, and understandably so, because without the players, there'd be no scene at all. So there's a reason why people hold the players in really high regards. But I think there's obviously a lot of people out there who do aspire to be casters, but as you said, maybe more people that kind of go for the player route because it seems a little bit easier. You've just got to play the game. keep to yourself. Whereas a caster, you've got to put yourself out there. You kind of put yourself right out in front of the public as well. So you've got to be open to scrutiny. You know that people are going to shoot you down as a caster. As a player, you work your way up, and there'll be a point where you get recognized and you start to play for a big team. But as a caster, when you kind of get those first big opportunities, you've got to be ready for a lot of flame from the community. So you've got to have kind of a strong heart going in as a caster, but I can certainly see why people would see it being the harder route in that sense, if they're not ready to take kind of the flame attack from the Reddit armies compared to being a player.
During the Shanghai qualifiers, your trick with Rob Dugan on live casting was a huge blast. So shall we expect something else, something like that from you in the nearest future?
Well, it's always been something that I've done, kind of playing the music, getting the club to death on, something with a good beat. I'll certainly do it, only kind of in those situations. Obviously with LANs and stuff, there's a different kind of side to me. I like to feel that I can do the professional side, I'll turn up to LAN, I'll throw in a few odd jokes there, but I'll keep it kind of clean. Obviously and stuff like that, when I was doing the qualifier stream, I was doing it from home. You have your sounds on, you have your soundboard. It's a much more relaxed environment because the games are obviously at different tiers. So people that are watching aren't that invested in the Dota, but you know, at a LAN, you've got EG versus Vega, top teams in the world. People, they don't care about your silly little jokes and your silly music. They just want to see the Dota 2. But when it is teams that people maybe have a little less interest in, it's a lot of fun to kind of play it up, use the music, have a bit of a joke, and the majority of people do appreciate that and like it. So definitely when I'm casting qualifiers or something from home again, I'll continue to use like the music and the comedic stuff. Yeah.
Okay, you and many other people develop yourself as a Twitch professionals, but nowadays we have a tendency that Twitch is flooded with streamers and casters with some questionable reputation and means of attracting publicity. And since you don't have any perky tits, what tricks do you use to draw attention of the public?
I guess it is hard. I mean, even when I started to cast stuff as a streamer and then I'd stream my own stuff, it's very hard to draw in an audience. And I think a lot of people attest to that. I mean, recently someone like Black, obviously one of the best carry players in the world. I guess there's a lot of best carry. He's a very top tier carry player, Black. And he streams it, and he wouldn't get that many viewers, but he just kind of, it's because people don't really realize that he's there. You log onto Twitch, and there's a huge kind of, a huge Russian fan base that watches, so the majority of top streams most of the time aren't English streams, so a lot of the English streams kind of get pushed down, so people find it a little bit hard to discover who's regularly streaming, and that's the thing as well, not a lot of players do regularly stream. So, and you kind of notice that as well. When I started to stream for like a week, day by day, each day it would build because people would just realize that you're actually there and available for them to watch on a regular basis. So I think just by being regular, that certainly helps the stream. And in terms of drawing people in, you've kind of, if you know, a lot of people out there kind of, as you said, they have the dream of being a player. A lot of people kind of dream of streaming a video game, playing a video game and get paid for it. You've got to kind of build yourself outside of the streaming platform. So for me, I did it as a caster, and then because people know me as a caster, they're more likely to kind of check out my stuff and just watch me play games. So I think you've definitely got to go outside of the Twitch and then bring your audience into the Twitch to really have a sustainable stream.
Okay, and since you mentioned that you are really into gaming in general, so what are you playing in the recent time, and what are you expecting to be released?
Oh, I mean, recently I kind of play a little bit of everything. So PC game-wise, recently been hitting up stuff like Evil Within. That was one of my favorite games that I recently completed through. The game that I'm waiting for, Uncharted 4. I can't wait for that one. That will be what makes me go out and buy a PS4. I do need to play the new Tomb Raider. I played the first Tomb Raider a few years back, and that was great. I'm waiting for, well, the PC release. I don't think it's out yet. It came out on Xbox One first. I'd have to go and get one of those. When I'm back at home in England, I always hit a Mario Kart Double Dash. I've got a couple of GameCubes, 8 controllers, the LAN adapters, 2 screens, so you can do 8 players on the same course. It's great fun with your friends, so a bit of the old Mario Kart. Other than that, on the PC, not a huge amount. I've been dabbling a bit back with Shadow of Mordor, going back playing some of that. Still yet to play Fallout 4. That is another one that I need to get. I haven't played it yet. That was one that I was a little bit hyped about. But I never finished a Fallout game, which is really bad. I'm one of those people who hoards games in my Steam library. Every kind of summer sale, Christmas sale, I'll buy all the games. You know, I've got all the Fallout games. I've got a huge library, but I'm one of those suckers who just plays Dota 2. You know, you've got all this massive choice, and you're like, what will I play today? I'll just play Dota. So I need to get around to playing a lot of games, but definitely went out Uncharted. Uncharted's going to be good, for sure.
Okay, and if you were invited to do voice acting for a game, Will you take the part?
Oh yeah, sure. That would be great fun. I mean, there's a mod in Dota, one by one of the streamers, Captain Balmy, where he did a remake of a Warcraft mod called Pimp My Peon, and he got me doing the voices for like the elf race in it, which was great fun. I mean, I'd love to do voice acting. It's just if people felt that they had a game that had a role or a character that my voice would suit, but definitely, if there's people out there and want a voice actor, I'd do it. It'd be great fun.
So please mind that. He's ready for your offer.
I'll do it for free. Actually, no, maybe I want some money. I'll do it at a low price. Maybe for free if it's a good game, if it's fun.
Okay, and before we let you go, any shout-outs to people that you would like to thank for, congratulate?
Just anyone that's ever supported me, ever shared a video, ever made an odd shot of me, ever upvoted a Reddit post, ever posted about me on various forums, everyone that's ever hated me, because haters only kind of give you more press. Any press is good press. Someone posts a bad comment, at least you're talking about me. So anyone that's ever mentioned me on the internet, shout out to you.
Okay, so thank you for the interview, Owen. And you watch, comment, put likes and even dislikes. That works. And expect our new videos. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Watch lots of cool stuff at PlayUA.net.